we have this wisdom and life experience that is so incredibly valuable. We've been to the fire and back. It felt like getting hit by a 2x4 squarely in the face. This is about stepping into and owning our power and deciding, how is it that I want to use that power? Most doctors, even in the women's health specialties, are given a couple of hours at most of training on menopause. Menopause is actually the gift that I didn't know I needed.
Welcome to the Old Chicks No Shit podcast for midlife women who are ready to rewrite the rules and create their kick-ass next chapter. I'm Jennifer Arthurton, and each episode we dive into reinvention, resilience, and unapologetic pursuit of your best chapter yet. Because midlife is not the beginning of the end, it's simply a new beginning. Let's dive in. Today I have a little bit of a different episode for you. It's a solar episode that is because I'm feeling a bit ranty today, based on a couple of conversations that I've had over the last few days with different women, and also relating to an experience that I recently had that has just got me so fired up about menopause, how menopause is viewed in the world, and how we are being intentionally or unintentionally held back simply because of this natural transition in life. So this all started with a conversation that I had with a friend of mine who is younger, who is just, approaching her 40s. And, the conversation of menopause is now coming to the forefront. And she asked me some questions that were things like, how do I avoid menopause? What can I do now? Can it actually be stopped? And as you know, menopause is a rite of passage. Like puberty, for all of us as women, we are going to go through it. And the first thing that popped into my head when she asked this question was like, well, why? Why do you want to stop it? Like, you would never think about trying to stop puberty because it has a purpose, right? It's there for a reason. And it's the exact same thing with menopause, right? It is with us for a reason. But the problem is that menopause has all kinds of baggage associated with it, right? Women post-menopause are seen as, washed up, over the hill, no longer valuable, no longer beautiful, no longer desirable or relevant. And so it's no wonder that people are thinking, how can I avoid this altogether? Because I don't want to be put in that category. And who does want to be put in that category? Like, highly undesirable place for any of us to aspire to. And this whole idea that as soon as we get postmenopause, that we need to, just curl up in a ball and shrivel up and just kind of, roll into the corner and wait to die. Like, who's signing up for that? Definitely not. And, it really kind of came back to me again with a recent experience that I had with a gynecologist. So it was pretty obvious to me in my experience with this woman, who is an expert on women's health, who clearly, based on the questions that I asked her and the conversation that we had very, very limited knowledge of the menopausal experience, how to treat it, what to do about it, how she could help me. And it struck me as really, really bizarre that this person who is a trained expert in women's health does not know about this important time of our lives, like this very important time. And I'm sitting in her office and I'm looking looking around, and there are pictures of all of the babies that she's delivered, over her career, beautiful babies everywhere. And it struck me that, like, is the end of her training and the end of her experience for women at babies? So, like, once you've given birth, like, that's it, you just roll off again, into the sunset, and they have no idea what to do with you. Like, how bizarre. How can the end of women's health be, once you've delivered your baby, and then that's it? Like, it's actually mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to me that, and I read this somewhere, that most doctors, even in the women's health specialties, are given like a couple of hours at most of training on menopause. And we all know that it is woefully under researched. Like, we don't have enough information yet. I mean, this is changing. Like, we're starting to see, more money getting put into it, louder voices around the menopause space. We're learning more all the time. But it is still like menopause is a woefully unsupported time in a woman's life. And it's like, it just reminds me of this like hyper fixation that we have on women and aging, right? On how we're supposed to look, how, we are supposed to avoid having wrinkles. Like, we don't want our body to change. Like, heaven forbid that we might look like we're in our 50s or our 60s. And then the height of that really struck me this week while I was scrolling through social media and saw a plastic surgeon talking about reaching menopause and losing volume in your labia. So they have come up with this labia puffing procedure. Like, what? We need to have our labias puffy now? Like, is there any part of a woman's body that doesn't need correcting or fixing in some way to make it acceptable to our culture in our society? It's mind-boggling to me that we have this fixation. And the question is, like, I keep asking myself, why? Like, why is it so bad for us to look our age? Like, and let me just say, like, plastic surgery, all of the things that women do, I am not against any of it. And if that's what we feel that we need to do to feel good about ourselves, then everybody should be able to have the right to choose. Like, I am not passing judgment on anybody who does anything. But the question that keeps still coming back to me is why? Why do we feel that we need to not look our age? Right? To seem like we're older. And again, it comes back to that cultural narrative, because if people see you as older, they see you as less relevant, no longer useful, no longer valuable. So I get it. I understand it. I understand why, we're pushing hard to not look like we should, but like we're aging. But consider this, like, when we as women are postmenopausal, we are actually entering the most powerful chapter of our lives yet, right? And, think about it, right? We stop giving a damn about things. Like, we are done with seeking approval, people pleasing, other people's opinions, all of that kind of stuff. We no longer feel the need to prove ourselves. We have this we have this wisdom and life experience that is so incredibly valuable, right? Like, we've been to the fire and back. We've come through all of the obstacles and challenges of life, and we've come out the other side. And that kind of wisdom and life experience can't be bought. It can't be hacked. It has to be earned. So it's not something that everybody can just instantly have. Like, we have it as a rite of passage because of our age and how long we've been on this planet. And then, in this chapter of our lives, we become so much more in tune with our bodies, so much more in tune with our own inner wisdom, like our truth, our intuition. And it is in this chapter of our lives, like, we are rooted in what we know to be true. And it's very hard to sway us off that path. Like, we can't be manipulated. We can't be pushed off what we know to be true. So when you add up all of those things together, it's like, here we have this group of incredibly powerful women, right? Who are not easy to manipulate, who are not easy to sway, who most often are focused on, how they can make the world a better place, having a sense of purpose, doing things that are meaningful for them. And that, I think, is kind of scary, right? Like, it's kind of almost the reason why we used to burn witches at the stake, because this group of powerful women has the ability to be able to change the world. And it's really hard to sway them. You can't manipulate them. They don't care. They have the knowledge and the wisdom, and they know what is true and what is right. So, sometimes I think about it that, like, from a patriarchal standpoint, we have actually very intentionally set it up so that as women, we are hyper focused on our menopause symptoms, on, trying to do everything that we can to feel good, trying to do everything that we can to not look our age, that we've our focus is really small. It's very insular. It's literally on these things that, not that they don't matter, but are they the most important things? I think not, right? Like there's so much more. I mean, midlife women are changing the world, like one business at a time, one purpose at a time. And, if you can keep us focused on, the small things like our gray hair, our wrinkles, our menopause symptoms, and what our labia look like, right? We're not focused on the bigger things. And, here's some stats that I recently looked at around menopausal women, aging women. Women over 45 are the fastest growing group of female entrepreneurs. They're starting more businesses and they are more likely to be successful than women who are younger than them. Women control over $43 trillion in global consumer spending, as in they are making the decisions about how $43 trillion in our economy is being spent. By 2030, it is estimated that women over 50 are projected to control 2/3 of the nation's wealth. Most of it is held by women over 50. And midlife women are not just spending, they're investing, they're funding, and they're also leading. Women over 45 are more likely to engage in social impact projects and purpose-driven initiatives. They're launching nonprofits. They're mentoring younger women. They're spearheading movements, right? As much as they would like us to believe that we are some small, invaluable, and easy to overlook cohort, quite the opposite is true. But the thing that holds us back is the belief that we are not powerful. Like when we are focused on all of the things that we are focused on in terms of like, no longer looking our age, we're keeping ourselves small and stuck when we could be using this incredible power that we have to impact the world. And, in another survey that I saw, women over 45 rate purpose and meaning as being the number one driver behind the businesses that they start and the movements that they spearhead. It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's about making a change in the world. So consider this, like, menopause is this taboo subject, right? It's this thing that we don't want to experience, or, even I going through it, like my menopausal experience was horrendous. It felt like getting hit by a 2x4 squarely in the face. Like I had no idea what was happening to me, and I considered it to be a betrayal. I have since learned that menopause is actually the gift that I didn't know I needed, because it brought me back to myself. It gave me back my body, like a relationship with my body. My body used to be, the stick that carried around my head. That, other than trying to manipulate it into some shape or form or size, I basically had no relationship with it. But when I went through menopause and my body started talking to me, it became very, very clear that I needed to start tuning in and paying attention to what she said. And what I found in there is an incredible wisdom, like a knowing and a truth that has led me so successfully through, this last 10 years of my life since menopause. So I encourage you, like wherever you are in your menopausal journey, whether you are just beginning it or not, or in the throes of it or just past it, to view this transition as a coming home to ourselves, right? Of a stripping of all of the masks that we wear, the things and the people that no longer serve us, because we are coming back to our truth. In that truth lies our power. And when we can harness that and really own how powerful we are, we have the ability to literally change the world, to create any kind of life that it is that we want. So this chapter is not at all about shriveling up and, rolling into the corner and waiting for it all to end. This is about stepping into and owning our power and deciding, how is it that I want to use that power? What feels meaningful and purposeful and important for me? How do I want to show up in the world? Because this is our opportunity. And this whole argument that, menopause is the beginning of the end. If the average age of menopause is 50, let's just say, and the average end of life for a woman is, let's say, 80, 85, maybe even 90, that means we have a 30 or 40-year chapter ahead of us to be able to do whatever it is that we want. So this isn't the beginning of the end. This menopause is a transition into this next chapter, which is a really powerful one. And we know from life experience that any transition is going to feel bumpy because there is the shedding, the purging, the realigning, all of that happening. And yes, that part is uncomfortable, but on the other side of it is where we really, really find ourselves, where we find our true power. So I just invite you to consider this journey that you're on through menopause. And again, whether you're listening from the beginning of menopause, in the middle of the throes of it, or out the other side, to consider the gifts that this transition is giving to you, because I guarantee you there are many. So I would love to know your thoughts on my little rant. It's been very top of mind for me over the last couple of days, as I mentioned. And I would love to know your thoughts on how your menopausal journey has impacted you. What gifts has it given you? What have been your greatest challenges? If you like what you heard today, I would love it if you would leave a rating or a review on this episode, or even better yet, pass this podcast episode on to a friend, a relative, a sister, a coworker, or somebody who might get something out of it. Because ultimately, my purpose is about reminding women of this powerful time of their lives and, inciting them, inspiring them to use it in a way that feels good to them. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for listening to the Old Chicks No Shit podcast. If you like what you heard, the greatest compliment you could give us would be to comment below and subscribe. Or better yet, you could share this episode with a friend, a relative, or somebody you think could get something out of it. And remember, midlife is not the beginning of the end. It's simply the beginning of your kick-ass next chapter.